I'm not very good at best and most and things like that because to me it's just all a conglomeration of everything. But best advice, and I have a bad memory too, I guess it would be enjoy where you are, what you're doing, because it may not be here tomorrow. You may not remember it tomorrow. So just make the most of what you have.
Don't smoke it all at once. Yeah.
Who gave you that advice?
My dad.
Like running a race. Like sometimes, like I give advice to people, but sometimes when I'm like dying, like because it's like hot or my legs are tired, people are like, keep going. Like they encourage me to they give me advice on how to keep up the good work.
Stay young, I think.
Stay young forever. Yeah.
I've been told too many times to get too old or don't get old. So I think that's the best advice. I'm going to try to stay young as far as I can.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're taking that advice?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah, I don't want to get
traveling
old.
around and definitely traveling and not being stuck at a job 24/7. You know what I mean?
I don't want to have to,
really
get down and tie my shoes and break my back. You got to stay young.
That's a tough one. I think probably one for me personally would be take it one day at a time. Some days are rougher than others. Just gotta stay in the present, really. I always have that problem of like either focusing too much in the past or too much in the future. I'm never here in the present.
I would say don't judge a book by its cover. Like give everyone a shot. Honestly, yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple.
The best advice I've ever received: to say sorry quickly and to forgive quickly. I think that can just be so freeing and just allow us to reconcile with people so much quicker. And that's really a beautiful part of life, is to be with people and connected with people. So yeah, saying sorry quickly and forgiving quickly probably has been the best advice I've ever been given.
Wow. I don't know. Lighten up. Oh, am I heavy? Sometimes. But not now. Because I lightened up.
Always keep some money for yourself. This was for women. Always keep some money for yourself so that you're not ever dependent on a man. That helped me get away from my first husband.
Don't go into debt. Stay out of debt the best you can. Because I know it's really hard to stay out of debt, but for the younger generation, stay out of debt.
Mine, it would have to be like appreciate what you have. I came from like less fortunate, and I got to see everyone else who had more. Like he came from a very different lifestyle than what I did, and we came together and like started dating, and we both had different visions on things, and he didn't like quite understand it. And after we started learning more together, he understood like different ways that you could do things like a little cheaper. Like you don't always have to spend a bunch of money just to like enjoy life. You know what I mean? So that's my advice probably that I've always stuck with for sure. Our childhood was like very different. He's never had to worry about bills as a kid or like the power getting off or anything like that. As for me, like I did have to worry about that a little bit, like
And
not
the
a bunch, but
only thing I had to worry about as a kid, like where are we going to go for our next vacation? That's the only thing I had to worry about as a kid, and I was very fortunate. And the only thing, I did not get to see my dad as much, so it really hurt me.
I've never had like one person like who has been like a mentor for me personally, but I guess in our generation we have like all these podcasts and YouTube and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people that I follow online who give a lot of like infinite advice. Same with like books and stuff like that. I guess I can just, I don't know about the number one best, but I guess one that's been pretty good is just begin again. That's one that I've gotten through this meditation app that I use, and it's basically just like you envision yourself, maybe it's different for everybody, but you can envision yourself like when you're like 85 years old or something. Maybe you're like close to dying, or you just don't have as many opportunities at that point, and you just envision yourself there for like a minute or so, and then you just like come back and you just begin again, and you just look around, and you're just like, all right, like I'm talking to a mic right now, I'm talking to you right now, like it's not as bad, you know what I mean, as it could potentially be. And that mindset also helps if you find yourself like maybe on like a bad path, whether that's short term or long term. You could find yourself just like on social media for like 30 minutes, and then you're like, well, I got to do schoolwork, but I just don't want to. But if you just stop, take a minute, and just begin again, then you can reset. You can go back and start doing the schoolwork again. So that mindset helps me.
Be ready for the hereafter. There's something after this. That's what I interpreted the best advice to be. The greatest book in the world tells you how.
I think the best advice is just to pursue God.
Smile often. Keep your mouth shut. Smile often. That's from my daddy.
Oh, I feel like I needed to study up on these. The best advice I've ever received. You know, when I was a kindergartner, a bunch of like 3rd and 4th graders were teasing me, and because my name's Dick, and I went by Dickie growing up, and I was crying at home to my parents, and they just said, you know what? The name doesn't matter. It's all about who you are. So I guess just not worrying about just trying to be myself. That was probably the best advice.
I mean, I guess it's okay to fail. The amount of times, I've always been a perfectionist, so failure hasn't really been an option. I haven't really experienced failure until I was in college, and getting your first couple of D's and F's on tests doesn't feel that great, but honestly, you need failures in life to actually kind of grow yourself and kind of go places. So just seeing failures as an opportunity to learn more and kind of grow from it.
One of my mentors helped me just be more willing to talk to many types of people. There's always something you can learn. If you're in a workspace and your colleague might, you have a task to do and your colleague might not be great at doing that task, there's definitely something that your colleague can be very productive on. A lot of times it takes actually personally talking with them and figuring out what their strong suits are to allocate tasks and stuff. But the main thing, I think a lot of my self-awareness and maturity has come from just talking to random people a lot of times, and especially about what their interests are. I like talking to people when they're enthusiastic about the thing that they're talking about. So
maybe to think for yourself and not just believe everything people tell you, and don't copy other people's opinions, but just form your own, and you'll understand the world more that way, I think.
Go with follow the beat of your own drum, Go do your own thing. Don't follow what everyone else is doing. I have a lot of people in high school played sports and stuff, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do drama and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Just keep my head down and work. Nothing beats hard work. That's basically it. I've wrestled for about 13 years of my life, and I think that taught me hard work for sure. Yeah, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's the hardest thing I do. So.
Probably, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be okay. It was something that I was told during a really hard time. But yeah, it's just life is never going to be perfect, but you can always count on it being okay at some point. That was just what I was told.
To live life to the fullest and be happy in life. Being a positive person, stay positive in life, get a positive outcome. Next question.
Honestly, it's a simple one, and it's just be yourself. Be yourself. Life will be more fun. Life will be more genuine if you just be yourself. Don't try and please other people. Just be yourself.
The best advice I ever received was before my boyfriend passed away 2 years ago. The best advice he gave me was to do things in life unapologetically, because you only get one life. I mean, you make mistakes, yeah, that's true, but just do everything in your life unapologetically, because, we're our own person, we have our own paths and our own destiny.
You can only give what you have. You can't give somebody what you don't have, so you have to fill your own cup first. One of my small group leaders told me that when I was going through a toxic relationship.
I don't know. Take things one step at a time, I guess. It sounds pretty corny, repeat it, but I guess be the best version of yourself and always try your best. I always, ever since I was younger, kind of like doubted myself and like the things I wanted to do, and always tried to pertain like to being so-called perfect. But then again, no one's perfect, as you know. Even like, you know, with like COVID and everything going on, it makes you realize and sit back, like, you know, like everything isn't probably like what it's meant to be, what you thought it would be. So yeah, that's the best advice I have gotten.
Only worry about what you can control, because the rest, all you can do is worry about it, right? So you can't do anything about it. So don't spend time spinning your wheels, overthinking things that you can't control. And I'll say another thing that I like is questions open the door to truth, not answers. So always wonder. Never think you know, because you don't. There's too much to know. You don't know. And I'll move to an Einstein quote. The world or nature itself only shows you the tail of the lion. The rest is hidden. Therefore, all you see is a tiny, tiny little piece of reality. The rest is unknown, and you have to accept that. If you can accept that, then you open the door to figure some things out.
Okay, so I received advice over something like this, like what I just talked about, just not to stress over things like that, because in a year or in a little time it won't even mean anything. So not to take anything too seriously or let it like really get you down, because I feel like that's a slippery slope. And so they told me like, don't stress too much over things in life, because things will happen. But yeah.
I took like a photography class, and I used to be really into photography. I'm not so much anymore. But yeah, my professor, she gave me some really good advice, like for the people in the class that wanted to like pursue it as a career in the future. And she basically just told us like, you're a photographer as long as you keep taking pictures, you know, as long as you keep doing the thing that you want to do, you are doing it, you know. So when you stop, that's when you're not, you know, fulfilling your dreams or doing what you want to do or whatever. I thought that was good advice, because you can get imposter syndrome really easy in any sort of like creative career. So just, you know, knowing that actually doing it is enough is good.
Keep going. Yeah.
Don't take anything too seriously. So a lot of stuff's gonna happen in life, and like if you take everything seriously to like the most slightest detail, then you're not gonna see what's like actually going on. Take your time, understand what's going on, whatever the problem is, and then like approach it calmly.
To dream big and to have faith in yourself and in your goals. You know, if you work hard in life, you have a vision, you can achieve it.
To not take life too seriously.
Best advice I've ever received. You can't make everybody happy, right? There's just some people out there that are, you know, they just don't want to be happy at that point. They're kind of built in miserable, I guess, but don't make yourself miserable trying to make everybody happy, for sure. Can't make everybody happy. Because, you know, you want to make sure everybody's happy or everybody's pleased or they're all in a good mood, but some people, no matter what you do, you just can't make them happy.
The best advice I've ever received is just always doing the right thing, even no one's watching.
Always play to win.
How about explore the world? Or have a friend, you have to be a friend.
Yeah, that's probably a good one. We tell our kids that a lot. If you want people to respect you, if you want people to like you, if you want people to be like you, that you have to be a good person.
I got this really big job being a museum director, and someone said, you know, Sarah, you could work 24 hours a day and not get everything done. She said, leave work at 5:30 and leave work.
I think just live in the moment, or carpe diem. Don't worry about things that are out of your control. I think before I heard that, I would just worry about things that didn't really matter, things that I couldn't control, like I just said. But then once I realized that I just should focus on the few things that I can control, it just got a little easier, I would say.
Keep up the hard work. Being good at something, I guess. Yeah.
Probably stay in school and, you know, focus on school.
If you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect others to believe in you? My dad always said that.
Live life. If you want to do something, go do it, man. Tomorrow's not promised.
If you love God, God will love you back, especially living in the 20th century here, that things are out of bounds. The things that we thought that we could get a good break, a fair deal with, like doctors and lawyers and people like that, they're no longer giving you a fair shake. They are trying to make money. Nobody talks about, I'm going to heal you. It's always, take this pill and I'm going to treat you for 6 months and I'm going to use all your insurance up. Everybody is trying to be a millionaire, it seems. Everybody's trying to be a millionaire. What is the use of having $1 billion? You'll probably outlive the money before you spend it all. And then you say, well, I can give it to my kids. Well, you're making a generation that will be lazy, and it's killing America. It's killing America because God's been so generous and gracious to America, and we've let the spirit die. We've let it die. Americans are not Americans anymore. They are lazy. It's just the way times have changed. What happened? What happened to, what is that? That's the peace sign. What happened to it? It died in our dreams. Nobody uses it. Nobody knows where it was. What happened to it? What happened to Black Power? Yeah. Which symbolized the struggle that we have to make it. Well, guess what? We made a little progress, and now nobody uses it. Nobody uses that symbol. It died. There's one thing that didn't die, and that's the power of thank you. Thank you can change things, and it hasn't died. A lot of people don't use it no more. It may be on its way out, but still in the 20th century. Thank you is still a force that can change lives. It can change your life and change mine. In an instant, bam! When I say thank you to you for this interview, I see a warm feeling of, all right, comes on your face. But it works good for you, and then it snaps right back on me. That, yeah, I like doing this interview and letting some of these things that I see out.
Take things day by day. My dad just told me to start a habit. You got to start really small, so I've been trying to make that my life goal.